Good afternoon, Karthik and Toye. Am I audible, Karthik, and the screen is visible? Okay. Uh, Only you two have joined. We are waiting for 1 or 2 minutes for others. Okay, otherwise we are going to start. Karthik, from where your mid-semester one is starting? From 17th May. Okay. Yes, Karthik, that I'm going to discuss. Okay, but I will wait up to 1 minute. Okay, 5, 4 o'clock up to 5 minutes. Okay. If no one is means you and Toy only wait there, we are waiting for 1 minute. Okay. From 17th May. Okay. So SMEV paper, I think it is on 18th, na? Okay. So after the examination, the teaching is on or off, it is clear or not? Okay. Okay. So first of all, we will discuss about the mid-semester syllabus. Okay. So in a mid-semester syllabus, there is first of all BLDC motor up to some portion. Okay, and the second it is a switch reluctance motor. Okay, so the maximum weightage we can say up to 80% weightage it is as SRM. Okay, and 20% weightage it is the first chapter BLDC motors, or you can say permanent magnets motors. Okay, so just I will show you that up to which content you have to prepare in the we can say. So are you able to see the book chapter number 4, permanent magnet brushless drives? Okay. So in this chapter, from up to which you content you have to prepare. Okay, for the mid one. So you have to go through this 4.1. Already we have discussed different type of permanent magnet materials. Okay, ferrite, alnico, samarium cobalt, uh, neodymium iron boron. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to see the what are the different comparative points of these four magnetic materials. Okay, which magnetic materials is suitable for a high temperature, okay, etc. What is the different name of this particular materials, okay, what is type of BH curve is there, what is the level of the energy stored in a permanent magnets different type. Okay, so here we can say there is a one comparison table is given to you, okay, which shows the properties of the permanent magnet material. Okay, so there is a list concerned with the, we can say, number or figures. Okay, but say for example here you can see in the last column the Curie temperature. Okay, so from this you can conclude that which material will withstand less Curie temperature. Curie temperature means what? Karthik, already I told you. Can anybody, Toye or Karthik, can you give the answer? What is the meaning of Curie temperature? Already both of you are unmuted, so you can give the answer directly. What is the Curie temperature? Yes, yes, Karthik. Toye, are you there? Please give a reply in the chat box. Only Karthik is there. Okay. So Toye, the Curie temperature means the temperature above which the permanent magnet loses its property. Yes, Karthik, means the permanent magnet materials is becomes a paramagnetic. Okay, it's lose its property from ferromagnetic to paramagnetic. Okay, so which is not desirable for a higher temperature from this table. From this table, which material is not suitable for the higher temperature application? Yes, Karthi. Nibodian, iron, boron. Okay, because here you can see the figure is 345. Okay, so it can withstand the temperature up to this. This is the Curie temperature level of this Nibodian, iron, boron. Okay, if it is asked among these permanent magnetic materials, which material can be used for the higher temperature applications? So you have to know that the alnico is used for the higher temperature applications. Okay, but the drawback of the also the corrosivity of the alnico is less. Here you can see. Okay, so that comparison you have to know. The energy product is which the material have a higher energy product. So we can say iron, nibodian, iron, boron have a maximum energy product, means it is more suitable for the permanent magnets. Okay, but its drawback is it cannot use for a high temperature applications. Okay, and it is also rare. Okay, it is very costly because it is rarely available. Okay, so that is this. So if it is asked in MCQ that which permanent magnetic material give a high energy, okay, high energy product, or we can say energy envelope, then you have to know these materials. Okay, so that is the particular one point that you have to think related to the mid one. Okay, then we have to see the basic configuration of the brushless machine. Okay, we know that there are two type of PM machines, which are the PM machines we have studied. Which PM machines we have studied? Yes, PMSM. Yes, Karthik. It is a permanent magnet synchronous machine. Okay. And the second is, yes, permanent magnet brushless DC motor. It is called as a PMDC. Okay. So under the PM category, we have studied these two motors, permanent magnet synchronous machine and permanent magnet brushless machine. Okay. So here there is some comparison is given. Okay. That what are the basic advantages, okay, of this PM brushless? So that you have to go through this. From that, it may be asked the MCQ. Okay. It may be asked that why the efficiency is higher of the PM brushless machine. Okay, so you have to know that if there is a absence of the rotor copper loss, so its efficiency is high, and it have also some drawbacks. Okay, so it may be asked that what are the drawbacks? We can say why this PM is not used for the constant power operation range. Okay, so you have to know that the permanent magnet materials, the flux is uncontrollable. Okay, the flux is uncontrollable. Okay, so the constant power operation range is limited, because if you want to go for a wide range of the operation, then the flux should be varied. Okay, and if your flux will be varied, then and then you can get for a higher range of the operation. Okay, but here there is a limitation of the flux. Okay, because whatever the flux produced by the permanent magnet, it is a fix. Okay, so that point you have to remember over here. Because the inherently uncontrollable PM flux, the constant power operation range is limited. Okay. Uh, yes. The second thing you can see that how the we can say the permanent magnet machine is demagnetized. Okay. So from this particular point, you can find out this. Okay. So the some few MCQs may be arised from this portion. Then we can see that what is a power output of the PM synchronous machine. Okay, so here you can see that here are the some basics. Already we have discussed about PM synchronous machine. What are the we can say different configuration of the rotor. Okay, here you can see the stator are same, but the rotor configuration are different. Okay, so what are the different rotor configuration are there? We can say surface mounted, surface inset, interior radial, and interior circumferential. Okay, so that you have to know. You have now, yes, this is very important point, that now you have to go for that the what is a permanent magnet synchronous machine operation. Operation means you have to find out the power output equation. Okay, so already we have derived this equation. Okay, in the starting session, offline session. Okay, so this is the equation that we have derived. Okay, so here you have to know that in a synchronous machine the power output is depends upon which parameters. Okay, and what is the equation that you have to know? Same way, you have to know that what is the torque equation of the PM synchronous machine. Okay, then you have to go for the PM brushless DC machine operation. Same way, you have to find out power equation and the torque equation. Okay, so already we have derived in offline sessions. Okay, that in the case of the PMDC machine, the power output is 2 MIM that we have proved. Okay, I think Karthik was absent during this session, but 2A were there. Toy, are you there? Already we have discussed these particular things and we have proved. Okay. Yes. Then you have to see what is the torque equation of the PM. Now you have to take this ratio of the power output. You see, you want to compare the PM synchronous machine and PM BLDC motor. Okay. So by comparing that, you can find out, and already we have proved that the power ratio of the PMDC, it is higher than 33% higher than that of the synchronous machine. Okay, so this is a very important point, that the PMBLDC machine can offer at least 33% higher power capability than the PM synchronous machine. Okay, so that particular figure you have to remember, that how much percentage higher power capability you can achieve using a PMDC motor. Okay, same way, what is we can say power density. Okay, so here we have discussed about the power density. Okay, so if you will see that the at least 15% higher power density you can achieve. Okay, so here we can say that the PMBLDC machine can offer at least 15% higher power density than the PM synchronous machine. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, then we have discussed about this modeling part. Okay, PM synchronous machine, the modeling we have already done. Okay, its equivalent circuits we have done. Okay, same way we have done the modeling of the PMBLDC motor, that is remaining. Okay, so you have to do up to up to up to the 4.3.3.1. Is it clear? The syllabus in a unit 1, it is up to the 4.3.3.1. Okay, Karthik and Toy, is it clear? Okay, now in the next unit, there is a switch reluctance motor. Just a second. Okay. So this whole unit, it is in your syllabus, switch reluctance motor. Okay. So here, first of all, you have to find out that the switch reluctance motor is working on a which principle. Okay. So you know that the principle of switch reluctance motor, it is a, we can say, variation in the reluctance. Yes or no? The reluctance will be vary, and according to the switch reluctance motor will be working. Okay. So the basic things, configuration you have to know. Then this is just a configuration. If where the permanent, we can say switch reluctance motor is mounted. Okay. Then the structure of SR machine. So you have to know that the stator is consisting which type of winding. Okay. So can anybody tell me the stator have a which type of winding? There is a particular two types basic windings. Do you know what are the types of winding in a stator? Yes, Karthik, the winding, it is in concentrated winding. Okay. And what is about the rotor? The rotor have any winding? No. Okay. The rotor have a permanent magnets? No. Okay. So the rotor is simply made from the iron core. It doesn't consist any winding as well as the permanent magnets. Okay. So the structures you have to know, and about the structures, the MCQ may be asked from this. Okay. Here there are different configuration. So 6x4, 8x6 pole machines will be there. If you are going for a more rotor, then what is the we can say difficulty? If more number of rotor poles will be there, then the switching frequency will be increasing. Okay, and is that the we can say the loss occur in switching devices will be more. Okay, so these are the different structures. The principle of SR machines. Okay, so that we have discussed, we have find out the torque equation. Okay, no doubt we have find out our own method, but finally we have derived this equation. Yes or no? Okay, just a second. I will show you that particular page. I think it is 1 minute. Yes. Are you able to 150? 1 minute. Yes. This is the. I will just. Okay. So in a switch reluctance motor, are you able to see these equations we have derived? Which one is a torque? Okay. The torque is proportional to what? Torque is equal to 1/2 I square dl by d theta. Okay. So that you have to remember that if there is a change in a current, how much torque is changing, what is the relationship between a variation in inductance with respect to theta and the torque. Okay. Which type of the, here we can see that the stator and rotor both have a salient type. Okay. Both have a salient structure is there. The stator have a concentrated winding. Okay. Why the, we can say the weight of the switch reluctance motor is less, because the rotor is nothing, rotor has no winding as well as no permanent magnets, so it is very light motor. Okay. So we can say the torque to weight ratio of this particular motor is high. Okay. Torque to weight ratio is high in this case motor. So these equations you have to remember. Torque is equal to 1/2 I square dl by d theta. Okay. Then we have discussed what about the stator pole arc, stator pole pitch, rotor pole pitch. So that you have to know how to calculate. Okay. Then we have discussed the, we can say the waveform of the inductance, the waveform of the dl by d theta, the waveform of the current. Okay. And the waveform of the torque. You see the torque is proportional to dl by d theta. Okay. So here you have to know that what is the type of the shape of the inductance. That type of question may be asked. Okay. So here you can see what is the shape of the inductance. It is a square wave. Here you can say square shape, triangular shape. Which type of the shape you can see over here of inductance? Do you know this shape is known which type of shape? Karthik? Yes. So it is called as a trapezoidal. Okay, so this waveform it is called as a trapezoidal. So it may be asked. Okay, then it may be asked that to avoid this negative dl by d theta, what we are doing. Okay, then why the width of the stator pole is higher than the stator pole width is lower than the rotor pole pitch. Okay, here if you will see that generally the rotor tooth. Okay, and here see the stator tooth. Which one is the wider? Stator tooth is wider or rotor tooth is wider? In this diagram, see this is the stator tooth. Okay, and this is the rotor tooth. Which one is the wider? Yes, rotor tooth is a wider than the stator. Why? Or in another terms, we can say that the stator pole arc is less than the rotor pole arc. Why we are doing this? Is there any idea to why the rotor pole arc is higher than the stator pole arc? Karthik, have you any idea? See, to utilize the maximum alignment of the pole. See, if the rotor is less wider than the stator pole, then what happens? The number of flux will not be utilized. Are you getting? Say for example, suppose consider that here your stator pole is there. Okay, and if your rotor pole is less wider, okay, so what happens? The most of amount of the flux will be unutilized. Yes or no? In this portion, whatever the flux, it is unutilized. Are you getting? Okay, and that is called as a fringing. Okay, so to minimize the fringing effect, okay, to minimize the fringing effect, or we can say to take a maximum benefit of the alignment of the rotor pole arc and stator pole arc, or we can say rotor pole and stator pole. The rotor pole width is higher than that of the stator pole. Okay, see if your stator pole is like this, okay, and your rotor pole is wider than this, then the flux will be utilized. The whole flux will be utilized. Okay, so that's why. So it may be you can consider an MCQ. Okay, then the basic concept you have to know that if the which alignment position will give a minimum inductance, which alignment position will give a maximum inductance. The one example may be given, and you have to find out that how much overlap period is there. Okay, etc. So that you can do from this. Then it may be asked that the rate of change of current is depends upon what? It is directly proportional to inductance, it is inversely proportional to inductance, etc. Okay. Okay, then you can see here the current is proportional to theta. Okay, the current is inversely proportional to inductance. Okay, so that things you have to keep in mind. Okay, then what is the equation of the power output? Okay, it is depends upon, see here you can see this power output equation that we have derived. Okay, so here you have to know that the power output is directly proportional to which quantity, it is inversely proportional to which quantity, some quantities are square proportional, etc. Okay, so that the MCQ may be asked from this unit. Okay, then we have discussed about the different modes of operation. Okay, so when the here that you have to remember that when the speed is low, the current is more. Okay, and its rate of rise of V is very fast. So here you can see the current is rate of rise of V is very fast. Okay, when the speed is minimum, okay, medium, or we can say medium, the V graph, the rate of rise of current is low or not fast, and the speed is very high. Okay, so we can say that the current rise is very fast. Okay, so we have discussed different modes: low speed, high speed, and medium speed. Okay, in which mode the current is have a high, the chopping current you can see. Okay, because to not allow the negative torque, we are switching the current. Okay, between the, we can say, maximum and minimum value. Okay, so when you are giving a plus VDC, it will take a minimum value, sorry, minus VDC, and when you are taking a plus VDC, it will take a increasing slope. And when the minus VDC is applied, it will get a negative slope like this. Okay, so this zigzag pattern, or we can say chopping pattern, is created for the current. Okay. Then we have discussed about the different modes. What is the meaning of choke mode and up to which speed it is used? So up to the base speed, we are going a choke mode, and it is also known as a constant torque mode. Okay. But when your speed is higher than the base speed, we have to use a constant power mode, and it is also known as a advanced angle control mode. Okay. Among this, which quantity you have to keep a constant? You are not keeping the torque constant, but you are keeping a torque and omega. The product of the torque and speed is constant. So that you have to know that in a different mode where we are doing. And after that, we are reaching to the T omega square constant mode. And that is also called as a natural operation mode. Okay. So here you have to see these equations. Okay, so this is the particular graph of the torque versus speed. Okay, so what is the choke mode, advanced angle control mode, or we can say the theta naught mode, constant power mode. Okay, so what is the meaning of omega b? What is the critical speed that you have to know? Then we have discussed about this closed loop speed control, and we have discussed two converter topology. Okay, so this is the third one, when two windings per phase. So total three we have discussed. Okay, after that we have discussed about design, okay, of the switch reluctance motor. So design point of view, how you have to remember that what is the basic equations. Okay, so I have divided this machine total design into the 9 steps. Okay, so you have to know that the torque is proportional to what. Okay, and how you can find out the we can say core length and the rotor diameter, etc. Okay, how you can decide the air gap. Okay, what is the basic criteria to select the size of stator diameters? How many poles you can select for stator and rotor? Okay, so these equations is important to, we can say, calculate the stator poles and rotor poles. Okay, what is m? M is equal to number of phases. K is the only positive integer, while q is maybe positive, maybe negative. Why? Because the rotor poles may be higher or may be lower than the stator poles. Okay, so these things, these equations you have to remember, and from that the questions may be asked. Yes, this is very important. If you are going for higher the number of rotor poles, the lower torque ripple is there. Okay, if you are increasing the number of rotor poles, obviously what happens? The torque ripple is reducing. Okay, the drawback of the SRM is what? The torque repulsion. Okay, the torque ripple is the main drawback of this SRM. Second drawback, it is a vibration, and the third drawback, it is a noisy. Okay, so mainly there are three drawbacks of this motor. So here it may be asked that if you are using what is M, what is K, and what is the Q. So if I will take any figure of M, K, and Q, then how many stator and rotor poles will be created? So this we have discussed. What is the sizing of pole arcs? Already I told you. The pole arc, stator pole arc is always less than the rotor pole arc. Okay. So these equations you have to know. Okay. Then what are the advantages of the SRM that we have discussed? Okay. What are the advantages? We have compared the particular SRM with a induction motor and permanent magnet motor for a different point of view. So in that case, we have discussed that the noise, vibration, and torque ripple are the main drawback. Okay. So by the what are the, we can say, the main constraint to use the SRM in electrical vehicles? So these three are the main constraint to use the SRM in electrical vehicles. Okay, so up to this we have done, and up to this in your mid-1 syllabus. Okay, the chapter which is going on unit number 6, it is not in your syllabus of mid-1. Is it clear, Toy and Karthik? Okay, and if you are going through this particular book, okay, then just I will just a minute. From the book, if you want to see, then these equations we have derived, these we can say the inductance waveform we have find out. Okay, already you know that what is a beta s, beta r, alpha s. Okay, that we have already discussed. Okay, we have discussed the equation of supply voltage V is equal to Ri plus d psi by dt. Okay, and we have already drawn these waveforms. Then as I told you, the SR converters, this SR converter topology, this particular which you are able to see, that I have discussed. Okay, these waveforms also we have discussed why the current is chopping mode. Okay, here we are giving a plus VDC and minus VDC. Okay, and how we are giving a switching of S1 and S2. This is about A phase. Okay, these waveforms are related to A phase. The same waveform you can go for a B phase, C phase. This is the explanation, nothing else. Okay, this is another topology. This we have not done. Okay, so don't go through this. The speed control we have done. Okay, switch reluctance 5.4.1. Speed control that we have discussed. Okay, we have discussed about this torque speed curve. Okay, then directly we have switched over to the design. Okay, so here the design parameters, whichever I have shown in the OneNote page, that you have to do. Okay, so I hope up to it is clear to you. Okay, so here we are ending our session. Okay, and please tell your colleagues to join the sessions. Karthik, your result is came. Karthik and Toe. Okay, got it 7.92. Okay, very good. In which subject the maximum? Toe, how much percentile you have? Okay, in my 85. Okay. Okay, Toe. Karthik, who has the maximum mark in my subject? I think you only, na? Okay. Anyone is failed in this exam? I think that the what about Vikas? Vikas is continuing this semester or not? Because up to this he has not attended a single session. In last two sessions, Sachin is there, but Vikas has not attended any session. So he has continued or not? Do you know, Karthik? Okay. Okay, Karthik. In which subject you have a maximum marks, Karthik? Okay. 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 So thank you, both of you. Okay. So here I'm ending the session. Now, if still is there any difficulty related to the mid one, please ask. Today, is there any issue related to the mid one syllabus? I will upload the material, okay, in by tomorrow, because actually at present in my home there are 3 COVID patients. Okay, my husband is COVID means positive. My father-in-law, my mother-in-law both are positive, and my father-in-law is admitted in a hospital. Okay, so there are some constraint of timing also. Okay, so thank you. Okay, so I'm ending the session.